So, a program that has been absolutely on fire here the last few days, and right now have the number one portal class, according to many, Texas Tech, and they have continued their impressive portal haul. Head coach Joey McGuire, 8-win season for the Red Raiders this season, and we broke down all of these pickups that they had the other day. So if you are new to this channel, Group Chat Sports, and this show, Group Chat Football Live, go check out that video from a few days ago where we broke down one by one these pickups for Texas Tech. But we have some new ones to talk about here today. And the first one we'll start with is Quinton Joyner, running back coming over from USC. And he was a guy who, he's a big play back. He's a yards per carry monster. Didn't really get that many touches this season, but still had around 500 yards this season.
Yeah, by the way, Coach McGuire shouted out the Matador Club. That is the official NIL collective of Texas Tech. So there's a lot of juice with Texas Tech. Got a lot of recommend in our comments. Really excited watching it. I think the college football world in general is really excited about not just what's happening on the field as Texas Tech gets ready for the Liberty Bowl against Arkansas next week, but this portal class in particular. So you mentioned Quinton Joyner. 5'11", 216, played at USC, 476 yards, doesn't jump out, but then you look at the yards per carry, 7.6. Also at 6.9 yards per carry as a freshman. You watch him against Penn State, had one of the most dynamic, explosive runs that USC had in a while against Penn State. So this is somebody that has a ton of juice, and he's a big prospect, 4-star prospect out of Manor, Texas, about a 6-hour drive from Lubbock. Track background, kind of unique, because he's a 10,900 meter sprinter. That makes sense. You see him run, but he's also a 49-foot shot putter. So he had some explosion coming through his body there. He's replacing a 1,500-yard back in Taj Brooks, right? We know that that's going to be the big story of the offseason for Texas Tech. Guess where Taj Brooks is from? Manor, Texas. So you go to the same high school, same town to replace Taj Brooks. Quinton Joyner is somebody that a lot of teams really, really liked, and he brings a lot of explosiveness to the table. And in this offense, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. You got the passing game with Baron Morton. You've been adding a ton of beef up front in the portal. Offensive line, we talked about that last show. Adding a guy like this, Quinton Joyner, is going to really supercharge this offense, and I think give them a chance to be potentially the favorite in the Big 12.
Had a big run on the road on a trick play against Penn State with him and Zachariah Branch earlier this season. Now, on the other side of the ball, they're adding a very, very experienced player who's been at a few programs now. This is going to be stop number 4 for him in Romello Height, who started his career at Auburn, then went to USC, then Georgia Tech this last year. And this is someone who, we talk a lot about veteran defensive linemen. This is a pass rusher, gives you a lot of length. Last season with Georgia Tech, had a solid year, 34 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, a couple forced fumbles, and an interception. But this is someone that, again, you and I are familiar with because during his recruitment was actually committed to Miami, ends up at Auburn. He's been everywhere, and he's played pretty much everywhere he's been. So this is just another move for him, ranked as the number 5 edge player in the portal.
Yeah, we've seen the whole journey, right? From being committed to Miami, going to Auburn, then USC, then Georgia Tech, now right back here to Texas Tech. Made a big impact against Miami this year, clinching the game on a strip sack, 34 tackles last year, 7 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, which is number 1 in the conference, and 1 INT. Twitched up guy, former linebacker, not, tremendous length, but plays hard, somewhat stiff and straight lineage, but twitchy and effective. He's pretty good against the run as well, even though he's not the biggest guy. He's got power, and he's physically mature. He's been in college for a long, long time. So Romello Height is somebody that I think has a chance to be very, very impactful at Texas Tech. You do wonder why he bounced around so much, but when he goes places, he plays, right? So it's not like he's on the bench at these places. And I'm really surprised he only had 6.5 sacks in his career because he's had a lot more pressures than that. He's able to affect the quarterback. He can do some things. He's not going to be like a Tyree Wilson type dominant pass rusher for Texas Tech. But I think every team wants guys that can get after the passer. This is someone that's done it in the old Pac-12, in the SEC, in the ACC, and now here in the Big 12. He'll get a shot.
And then another defensive player that Texas Tech added, Terrion Grant, cornerback coming over from Purdue, who started for Purdue as a true freshman this season. He's originally from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, home of Middle Tennessee State there, and someone who's coming in with a lot of length. It's interesting, man. And we feel like we talk about a lot of these Purdue guys. Obviously, Ryan Walters leading, but it seemed like there was a decent amount of talent on that roster for as bad of a season as they had, and they've been recruiting pretty well. But Terrion Grant, add him to the mix here at Texas Tech as another really talented guy with multiple years of eligibility, and that's a common theme with some of these guys that they're picking up.
Yeah, it's just somebody with a lot of traits. This is not like an overachieving kind of guy. This was a highly rated. He was the number 17 corner in America, 93 rank overall as far as the rating, 157th ranked player in the country, a solid 4-star, 6'2" wingspan, ran a 10.700 meters. So all the traits you want at corner. I think with this particular player, Texas Tech's getting him on the way up, traitsy guy that they are going to develop. They need corners in this conference. They're going against the bet. Look at the receivers that were in the Big 12 this year, right? When you're talking about McMillan, when you're talking about Travis Hunter, right? You're talking about some of the best wide receivers in the nation. Beck from Texas, or Christian from TCU. So there's some really, really good receivers in this conference. You need corners to keep up. This is one that has the length and the speed to help you do the job. The cornerbacks are very hard to recruit out of high school. It's amazing Purdue got him in the first place. Guys like this usually go to like a Tennessee or an SEC school, maybe a nice big ACC school. Goes to Purdue, now at Texas Tech. Traits are going to play. Excited to see his development. Great pickup. And this is a complete team that is being built in the portal. It's not just one position being loaded up. We're seeing O-line. We're seeing D-line, big D-line. We're seeing corners. We're seeing explosive running backs. We are seeing every single spot upgraded, pass catching tight ends in this portal class, 14 players, and both not just quantity, but also quality with Texas Tech.
They're buzzing in Lubbock, man. So Texas Tech, what a great run it's been for them in the transfer portal. And look, with as many guys that they landed, with a lot of them being pretty highly rated in the portal, it's going to be tough for anyone to knock them off that number one spot. We'll see as these days go on here, these weeks move on, if there's any more movement in the rankings there. But for now, Texas Tech with the number one class in the transfer portal, and we'll continue to track that sort of movement here on Group Chat Football Live every day, Monday through Friday here. Group Chat Sports. Follow, like, subscribe. We appreciate